Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be the first garden tour of 2022. I'm very excited. Currently we're all sick with COVID though, and my voice goes out every 2 seconds, so I'm mostly going to be showing and not telling. I'm sure I'll be feeling better by the time I get around to editing this video, and maybe I'll pop in a voiceover, but I just wanted to show my sick face to introduce this video. I will be going around our property showing you some pretty things like this gorgeous azalea behind me. I love this so much. Most things are in the garden so far for this season. I need to fill in some gaps, of course. Excuse the wind. And I'm also waiting for one more large garden bed from my dad, so that might be more like fall planting or quick turnaround crops. We'll see what we get to when that time comes. But for right now, I'm going to be trying to talk less and show more, if that makes sense. So let's get on with the garden tour. Oh, I should also mention it is June 15th. I'm in Zone 5B in Nova Scotia, Canada, so that's why my things may seem very behind compared to many of the other channels you are familiar with. But let's get started. This is one of my favorite plants on our property. This azalea is so stunning and vibrant. It's almost like neon orange. I love how they form these like balls. It's also been pouring rain for the last 2 days, so everything is kind of, you know, dropping their leaves, looking a little droopy. It's first thing in the morning. I'm sure they'll liven up later today. I believe this is wild rose here at the front of our property, and it's just kind of intense. I'm thinking of like taking a piece of this and putting it in one of my garden beds and just kind of like mowing over the rest of it. It's just really messy, no clean lines, but the flowers are very beautiful. They all kind of bloom in turns, so there's always a couple of flowers. You can see a fat little bumblebee in there, which I always love to see, but honestly, this is just a mess in the very front of our yard. I don't love it. Here's something else I'm thinking of moving. This is a magnolia, but it is very small. It's like maybe 3 feet tall, and it's not doing very well. It had like 3 very sad looking flowers on it earlier this spring. I can pop in a picture here, and it was suggested that I move it somewhere else and see if it's happier, as it is kind of close to the road, so maybe it doesn't like getting the salt in the winter and things like that. But I don't know, can this even recover? Like, it looks like a scraggly old tree, but clearly it can't be that old, and if it is, it's really not healthy. Any suggestions? This was a big project this spring. This space was kind of more like a cottage garden from the previous owners, but it was completely overgrown and crowded, like beyond what a cottage garden should look like. It just looked messy and weedy and full of grass. So we completely took everything out of here. Fixed the rock wall a little bit. It's still kind of sagging right here. We should probably fix that. But for this year, I do want this to be more of a cottage garden again. But honestly, with rising prices, I can't afford to buy a whole bunch of perennials right now. So what we did is we sprinkled wildflowers all through. But then we also did a variety of sunflowers in this bed. I think 3 or 4 different varieties of sunflowers. In this one, I made more of a kitchen garden. I planted herbs and flowers like nasturtiums. I also sprinkled some marigolds throughout. And then over here I did a ton of like zinnias and those types of things. And again, the wildflowers are just kind of thrown in on top. And so it is still going to have that messy look a little bit, but will also be just very beautiful, and I'm excited about that. It's kind of hard to see. Again, it was raining and we mowed the lawn, so it's kind of just a mess, but we do have some sunflowers and stuff popping up in here, and I hope that they grow really well with the solid watering they got over the last 2 days. I'm also seeing a lot of flowers popping up right here as well as some weeds. But honestly, unless the weeds get too crazy, I was just planning on leaving them because I kind of want this to be super low maintenance. Now we have some irises here. Irises completely took over this bed, but we did leave this little patch and they are beautiful. It was just way too much before. Here we are at the big in-ground bed. I've been working so hard to amend the soil and get it to be a working garden. Last year when we moved in, it was just completely rock solid, kind of clay-like, and clearly things are growing better than it did last year. So I'm so thankful for that. We have a rhubarb patch to the side here. I wish I could have gotten this in the enclosure, but I didn't have enough materials. I'm hoping that this is ready soon. Other people I know have already harvested theirs, but mine just doesn't seem to be growing too well. My grandfather suggested I put some like wood ashes on it next year, and that really helps, so I'm going to try that. Into my little garden. Again, this is enclosed to keep the deer and the critters out. In this first bed, I believe it's like 4 by maybe 6 or 7. I didn't measure it perfectly. I've kind of marked out these walkways with just wood scraps so that the kids knew that they couldn't stomp in my beds. So we have this walkway that clearly I haven't bothered weeding. Again, it's been raining, so I need to do a good weeding now that they've all popped up with the rain. But in this first little hill here that Max is making a shadow on, I planted some spaghetti squash. I just did that a couple days ago, so they're not popping up yet. And the same with zucchini I planted here. I figured, I know the squash is going to be pretty big as well as the zucchini, but the zucchini has approximately a 4 by 4 space and can come into the walkway a little bit. And then the squash, I don't mind if it heads towards the door. I was going to try and kind of push it that way, and then that's about 8 feet to the door, I would estimate. So I'm hoping that that's enough space for everything. In this bed, I left the wild strawberries, and I'm so happy I did, because after all of the amending I did on this garden space, I'm actually getting some good sized strawberries. I'm so pleased. I'm just hoping and praying that I can get them before the birds and bugs do. You can see there's one just starting to turn red over the last few days. I'm going to see if I can grab this tomorrow. It's still pretty unripe looking. I also put in some kale, but I think I need to come in and weed, clearly. But there is a kale here, and this one kind of flopped over in the heavy rain, so I'm hoping it kind of recovers and dries out a little bit, but it doesn't look very happy right now. Clearly a bird did get a strawberry, but there's just a ton of strawberry plants in here, and I'm hoping to leave this bed to the strawberries. I pulled them out everywhere else. I put some shelling peas up here. I think we have 3 or 4 plants that survived, and I'm letting them use the deer fencing as a trellis. I don't think they're going to get too big, but I just wanted to try a shelling pea for the first time. And then here I just alternated green bean, yellow bean, green bean, yellow bean, on and on. I think the yellow beans are the most germinated the best, if that makes sense. It'll be hard to tell until I actually, get some beans, but I think they're looking pretty good. I planted some carrots in here, and I did not think to do the trick with the cardboard to cover them and continue checking them, so I think I'm going to have to re-sow. I do see some carrots, but mostly weeds. I planted a couple of rattlesnake pole beans back there. Again, they can use the deer fencing to trellis. And then similar with the beans, I alternated cabbage, broccoli, hoping to kind of confuse pests. I don't know if that is going to work or not, but clearly it hasn't worked super great. I'm trying not to make a shadow so I can show you. They have been getting munched to pretty much nothing. I don't see any cabbage here. I think this looks like a cabbage, but I thought it was supposed to be a broccoli. I don't know. We have one right here. Again, it's getting nibbled on. There were a few others that are pretty much done for. Yeah, right here. So that's disappointing. I don't know what I'm gonna do about that. This one's looking decent so far. We'll see if we can keep that one alive. I might have to come and plant something else in this space later. And then I have some snap peas in here. I put some in the container, and this one looks really nice and strong, and all those ones are doing great as well. So far I'm really happy with the progress I'm making in this garden. Up here on the deck we have some more strawberries growing. These are looking great. I also planted these sweet peas. I got this as a Christmas gift, this little bag of seeds. I don't know, looks like they're growing fine. My little greenhouse I got from my mom has been working great, though with the wind it has been ripping. So it's kind of like a 1-year thing, I guess, unless I can patch it up. But it did work really well. All these plants are left over that I don't have space for. Hopefully I get some more space soon. My poor little tomatoes. I should give these guys a good water because they've been out of the rain. And this guy has blooms on it. I'm going to pick those off because they can't grow in the little solo cups. But this little greenhouse did work decently well. I'm so happy that my peonies came back. I was very concerned for their lives after doing our roof last year, and they got completely demolished, but they came back and they do seem to be growing pretty good. I see a little white flower down there by the window. I'm not really sure what... Oh, I tripped over the thing I ripped out of the garden. I'm not really sure what this is. It looks like some kind of rose. Maybe. I don't know. One more flowery thing. We have this rhododendron, which is in this deer fencing, which is so ugly and honestly an eyesore on our property. However, the second this comes down, the deer are going to absolutely demolish it. So that's why we keep it. But these flowers, I think this is a rhododendron at least. So beautiful. So vibrant, hot pink. I think it's gorgeous. The last beds I'm going to show you are my 2 raised beds, and we'll have a quick look at Wyatt's kiddie pool bed. I guess you saw that in my last gardening video 2 weeks ago, but you know, whatever. I'm so pleased with how much I have managed to pack into these beds this year. I was really trying to do small space gardening and maximize my space, especially with rising food costs, and just try and learn and do more for my 2nd year gardening. Again, this is more my gardening diary, not a how-to. I am very much a beginner and still making tons of mistakes. Here we have tomatoes, peppers, radishes, and greens. I also sprinkled some marigolds in here. My 2 Roma tomatoes are not looking so great. Oh, I can't make a big shadow. They are very puny. Then I have these 2 are German striped yellow tomatoes, and these 2 are the Scotia tomatoes I grew last year, which are doing the best, I think. This one's looking a little funky, this German one. It's looking like it's trying to grow a little sideways. So I have 6 tomato plants in this year, whereas last year I did 4. Then I have some romaine lettuce growing here, red salad bowl lettuce, Tom Thumb head lettuce, and black seeded Simpson lettuce. I have radishes growing all around the peppers. Those will be pulled out soon. I had kind of just done radishes in this space and then have been pulling them as they get big. All right, I wanted a quick clip before I put in the tomatoes and peppers before we harvest these radishes, because look how big some of these are. Can you pull that one out, Emmett? Wow.
Wow.
What? Don't throw it. That's a pretty good size for this variety. It said 1-inch globes. I'd say that's what that is. This one's kind of oblong shape. Do you want to pull another one, Emmett? What about that red one?
Okay. A throw.
No, you don't throw them. Pick it.
But
Yeah, good job. No, not throw. Can I have it?
yeah.
Thanks. What about this one?
I do. But
No, that one's not ready. How about this one? See the ones that are sticking out?
oh, six.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah.
Oh.
You have to reach. Reach. Oh, yeah. You did it. I think these are looking way better than last year's. Here I have 6 peppers as well as 6 tomatoes. I tried to make it a little bit symmetrical. I have those 2 are jalapeno. These 2 are the California Wonder. And these 2 are the Chester Reese Sweet Red Bell Pepper. Coming around to the other side, I have spinach growing down the side. And then I tossed in, I think that's a broccoli because I have a blank space where nothing popped up. So I thought that would be fine. I don't know, it might get a little crowded when things get bigger, but I'm hoping that it will work. And then in the second bed, my garlic, I'm so pleased with. It's growing so tall. It's probably 4 feet high if like all those weren't bending over. I'll have to do research on when to harvest them. I know someone said that they needed to be fertilized, so I guess I'll have to figure that out. Then I did onions through the center. I have red onions on this half and yellow onions on this half. And then this is one that was sprouting in my kitchen that I shoved in there. It's actually working out really well. Before all this rain, my onions were looking a little sad, but I feel like they're looking pretty good. Then I tossed in some kale along the side where I had spaces where the onions didn't grow well. And then again, this is like a broccoli or a cabbage or something there, as well as some celery. I'm making a shadow again. I need to get used to filming these videos, don't I? That celery looks like it's seen better days, but these 2 are looking really good. And these red onions are looking good. I think the yellow ones are doing a bit better, but that's okay. And then I planted a cucumber here in this blank space, hoping to train it up and over. We'll see how that works out for me. I might have to pull it. Lastly, here is Wyatt's garden. Again, you guys saw this. It just got pelted with heavy rain for the last 2 days, so it's looking a little sad, but this is a kale. He has nasturtiums growing. They look so cool. I think he put turnips in here. Is that what this is? A couple of turnips? That's super interesting. I don't know what he put there. He has a celery. His is looking better than mine. This is the red Russian kale. I'm still thinking that this is a weed, but I've left it there. This is either a broccoli or a cabbage. I can't really tell the difference between the 2 right now. And his beans are looking absolutely incredible. They're so big. He's going to have beans way before me. He planted them before I did, but you know. And this is a Tom Thumb head lettuce. And his, again, looks way better than mine. He is a better gardener than me. But look, something has been munching on it. This lettuce feels super delicate. It's very interesting. Oh, over on this trellis, I did put, this is a pea plant, and then I have 2 bean plants coming there. I just thought I'd utilize this trellis, even though this is a flower garden bed. I thought that would be fine. Okay, so I ended up talking through that way more than I should have. As you can hear, I do not sound very good. Maybe I will have muted it and talked over some pieces in editing. I'm not sure. I'm really not feeling well, but I wanted to get outside in the sunshine because we've been inside sick as dogs for the last 2 days. We've been sick for more than 2 days, but with the rain, it was a no-go. But I'm super happy with how my garden is looking. I love showing both the vegetables and the food that I am growing for my family, as well as just some of the beautiful flowers and things around this property. I'm in love with my yard still. This is the second summer that we will be here. Let me know what kind of gardening content you want to see from me this summer beyond just garden tours. I have never been able to maintain like a weekly update type of schedule, but let me know what you want to see gardening wise. I know I mostly post bookish content on this channel recently, but I want to get back and try and do both if possible. So let me know what kind of videos you want to see. Again, this is my garden diary, me just showing my successes and fails. The sun is blocking. I hope I feel better so soon because this has been rough being taking care of everybody and like not really myself while we all have been sick. But that's not what this video is about. I hope you guys enjoyed the first full garden tour of the 2022 gardening season. Give this video a thumbs up if you did enjoy it, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!